Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to your edition of Cricket Happenings today with your host Ram. And today your host Ram along with you is going to look at two matches. One is the second one day international between Australia versus Sri Lanka, which is the one which I'm going to start off with because the match was already over yesterday. Australia versus Sri Lanka, the second one day international. Sri Lanka getting a comprehensive victory by 8 wickets. Not only that, thirimanne went on to notch up his maiden century, they also equaled they leveled the series with 1-1 right now. So the one-day international series is looking interesting, and for Sri Lanka, they had to win this match. Well, they did so. I'll talk about that, and then we will look at how New Zealand are faring against South Africa on the third day. And New Zealand actually following on, which was expected. They were all out for 121 batting in the morning, with Tailstein wrapping up proceedings pretty quickly with 5 wickets for 17 runs. And New Zealand in the second leg were 157 for 4, with Dean Brownlie and watling actually battling it out in the middle. Well, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the second one-day international between Australia and New Zealand in the Vodafone Test Series. It was a day-night match which was played at the Adelaide Oval, and as I said very, very precisely, that it was very essential that whichever team wins the toss would actually put the opposition in, and that's what precisely happened. In fact, Sri Lanka were the ones who won the toss. As I said, it was going to be overcast skies, and that's what precisely happened. Sri Lanka won the toss, which I think was a very good toss to win on this particular pitch, because as it was, sky was absolutely overcast. There was seaming and swinging conditions absolutely akin to what we have in England, and that's what the Sri Lankan seamers are really equipped for. As you know, Kulashekara, barring Lasith Malinga, who can also swing the ball at good pace. Kulashekara, Angelo Matthews, Thisara Pereira, they all bowled splendidly, showing lots of seam and swing moment, and that's what enabled them to actually bowl out the Australians for just 170 runs. As I said, it was a very, very good toss to win for Sri Lanka, and it came at the right time for them. So Sri Lanka, without any hesitation, they put Australia into bat. But Australia, the openers didn't fare well today. In fact, Phil Hughes was out for 3. It was LBW bowled Kulashekara. Arun Finch was gone a victim for 4 runs, so he failed. So he's not having a good time. He also failed in the first match on his debut and also on the second match. So Arun Finch has to really get everything together now. As far as the contributions were concerned, George Bailey contributed 26 of 46 balls with 2 fours and 1 6, 29 coming from David Hussey of 29 of 41 balls with 5 fours. But Brad Haddin was the man. In fact, Australia were reduced to such an extent that at one stage they were looking down the barrel at 83 for 6 with 6 people back in the pavilion, and it took Ben Cutting, who was making his debut yesterday, and Brad Haddin decided that the only best form of defense was attack, and that's what he did precisely. In fact, after losing Stephen Smith for 8 of 11 balls with 1 4, and Maxwell also gone for 8, as I said, Australia were really, really dawdling at a score of 83 for 6. It required that partnership, which was very, very essential to give the Australian innings a bit of not a boost, I would say, just perk it up. So that's the precise reason one saw Australia reaching a score of 170. It was Brad Haddin who went off with some counter-attack there. He attacked the bowling to notch up 50 runs of 67 balls with 4 fours and 1 6. Ben Cutting on his debut was impressive with the bat, gave admirable support to Haddin there. That was very essential. As I said, Ben Cutting on his debut showing a lot of match temperament and actually playing a very good hand of 27 of 45 balls with 2 fours. After that, Lasith Malinga was the one who actually broke that very, very good stand which was going on for the 7th wicket by getting the wicket of first of Ben Cutting, and then also there was one more person who was making his debut yesterday. That was Kane Richardson, who was LBW bowled Malinga for a duck. He knew nothing about the delivery. He was beaten by sheer pace. Mackey was out for 4, 170 all out Australia. As I said, it was a bowler's wicket. Absolutely, as far as the morning was concerned, it was definitely a bowler's wicket, and that's what the Sri Lankan bowlers did well. They exploited the conditions to the hilt, I thought, with Kulashekara returning figures of 9 overs, no maiden, 1 for 24. Angelo Matthews absolutely suited to his type of bowling, 10 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 24. Also Thisara Pereira, 9 overs, 40 runs and 2 wickets. Malinga was the most successful with 9 overs for 32 runs and 3 wickets. Ajunta Mendes bowled 7.5 overs, no maiden, 1 for 41, 2 overs for 7 runs for Jivanta Mendes. So as far as Sri Lanka were concerned, well, Sri Lanka didn't have a good start. In fact, Upul Taranga was the first to go with only 3 balls bowled, chasing 170 to win. They lost the first wicket pretty quickly. As I said, Upul Taranga was the first man to go, caught behind on the bowling of Clint McKay for a duck. So it was an early breakthrough, and it was very essential for Australia to have an early breakthrough because 170 was a very paltry score. But as I said, the pitch started becoming more easier to play as the day wore on, and that's what precisely happened. The second wicket, after that, Australia had to really wait for the second wicket. They had to wait till the score reached 137, and that was the time they picked up the wicket of Tilakatne Dilshan, who went on to make 51 of 88 balls with 4 fours. But at the other end, Lahiru Thirimanne was looking very good. In fact, Tilakatne Dilshan was the first victim in Test cricket for Ben Cutting, who on his debut would remember this wicket as he took Tilakatne Dilshan's wicket. And once at 137, that was the hard work which was done by this partnership, 137 with Thirimanne playing some glorious strokes. And as you know, in the Test matches also he did very well. But today, what he did best was not only take Sri Lanka to victory, but in fact score his maiden century. He made an unbeaten 102 of 134 balls with 12 fours. Along with him, it was Thisara Pereira along with him. Not Thisara Pereira, it was Kushal Pereira, who was also making his debut yesterday. Kushal Pereira, well, probably has played some match, I wouldn't know. But, well, Kushal Pereira, in fact, had an unbeaten 14 to his name of 16 balls with 1 4 and 1 6. Thirimanne was on a princely 102 of 134 balls with 12 fours. 170 to 42, a comprehensive victory for Sri Lanka. But all in all, it was a good toss to win and bat and put the opposition in, and that's what Sri Lanka capitalized on. And what it did to this series is that it leveled the series 1-1, with the third match becoming very interesting now. As far as the bowling figures, Clint McKay who gave the breakthrough, 10 overs, no maiden, 143. Kane Richardson was very impressive with his bowling, but he was barred from bowling the balance 4 overs. I mean, as you know, the match got over in 40.1 overs, but Kane Richardson, who was selected, was impressive with his ball. He had 6 overs, 3 maidens, 15 runs and no wicket. Probably could have bowled more overs, but he was barred by umpire Erasmus for running onto the pitch. So basically, he has to really see to it that he gets this right. But it was his debut, but I thought he still bowled well. Ben Cutting on his debut, 10 overs, no maiden. He did well at the bat, and also with the ball, he actually picked up the maiden wicket of Dilshan, 10 overs, no maiden, 142. Doherty, 7 overs, went for 34. Stephen Smith, 4 overs, cost him 16. Glenn Maxwell, 3.1 overs, no maiden, 19 runs and no wicket. And the 5-match series is now tied at 1-1. Now, as far as the third one-day international is concerned, I'm trying to see, yes, the third ODI would be Australia versus Sri Lanka at the Gabba in Brisbane, and that will be on 18th of January. Okay, now let's go on to the current match, that is the match we just finished here at Port Elizabeth. It was very interesting, as I said, that New Zealand in the first innings are probably going to be receiving a pounding, and we'll have to see how New Zealand shape up in the second innings. Well, in the first innings, it was pretty quick work by Dale Steyn early in the morning to quickly wrap up proceedings. But the good thing for New Zealand was they actually passed the score of 100, and they were 121 all out, thanks to Brian Watling contributing a very good 63, which had a lot of stroke. It was a strokeful innings. 63 of 87 balls, the 13 fours. Other than that was Dale Steyn, who completely wrapped up the tail. All the wickets went to him today, barring Brian Watling was claimed by Morkel. But as far as the other wickets were concerned, Dale Steyn picked up the wicket of Neil Wagner. It was LBW bowled Steyn for a duck. He really peppered him some bounces, giving him a taste of his own medicine there. Jitan Patel was absolutely, I would say, absolutely scared of the bowling, the way he was batting. And then Dale Steyn actually had one absolutely going on hitting his stumps. He was out for a duck. Trent Boult was not out on 17. Trent Boult did one good thing. He actually hit a massive six. He hit a real six, and that six really went and broke some glass pieces there. But Trent Boult, that was a six which he hit off, I think it was Rory Cleanwell, and he had 17 to his name, unbeaten runs to his name when New Zealand were all out for 121. As Dale Steen's bowling figures: 13 overs, 5 maidens, 17 runs and 5 wickets, bowled lots of fire and venom. Morley Markle 1 for 26, Cleanville 2 for 53, Robin Peterson 7 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 20, and Callis 1 over, 1 maiden, none for none. And as far as South Africa were concerned, they got a very handy lead of a very massive lead of 404 runs, and Graham Smith had no hesitation in enforcing the follow on. And also in the second dig, the opening partnership was a bit it was Martin Guptill who actually started attacking the bowling. If you see his knock, he made 48 runs with 10 boundaries, but Brendan McCullum, at the other hand, was very quiet. He was really wanting to play from the safety of the crease, and that's what he was precisely doing. He contributed 11 runs with 1 boundary. But the first wicket to go was Brendan McCullum, as Robin Peterson had to come in. Robin Peterson came in, and he actually came in and picked up 2 wickets. In fact, the first 2 wickets, the breakthrough was given by Robin Peterson, as Brendan McCullum squared up to a ball which was coming in straight from Peterson. He was gone for 11 LBW, and Kane Williamson who dragged the ball onto his stumps from Peterson for 11 with 2 boundaries, which made the score 64 for 2. And after Guptill was along with Brownlie, was also playing some attacking stroke, but Martin Guptill was more aggressive. In fact, after contributing 48, Cleanville got a ball to jag in, and Guptill, all he could do was see his stumps being disturbed. The top of the off stump was gone. 48 for Martin Guptill. He was gone with 10 fours, and New Zealand were 84 for 3. And then it soon became 84 for 4, with Daniel Flynn having a very poor match, and he was caught by De Villiers on the ball of Cleanwood. In fact, it was 2 consecutive wickets in 2 consecutive balls for Rory Cleanwood, and that reduced the New Zealand innings to 84 for 4, with Dean Brownlie and Brian Watling in the middle. But what was the good thing was, as far as Dean Brownlie was concerned, Dean Brownlie took his time at the crease, but he also adopted an aggressive approach as far as batting is concerned. He played some very good shots, some pull shots. But as far as Brian Watling was concerned, he once again showed what an asset he is to the team by contributing an unbeaten 41 runs, whereby he never took any risks. He really played the ball according to the merit, and whenever any loose deliveries were there on offer, he dispatched it to the fence. In fact, at the end of the day, New Zealand solved the day with Dean Brownlie with an unbeaten 44 to his name with 8 fours, and Brian Watling not out on 41 of 82 balls with 7 fours, 157 for 4. And if you look at the innings of New Zealand today, what one would really see, the amount of boundaries that are hit. There were almost 30 boundaries hit, so that gives you a feeling that New Zealand adopted not a safety approach, barring Brendan McCullum. It was more of an aggressive approach that they had towards the innings, and that's what they precisely did. At least that aggressive approach has at least given them a sort of they put up a much better performance than in the second innings, where they scored at 157 for 4. But that's not enough, because what New Zealand would be needing tomorrow, that is on the 4th day, is 247 runs, which is again looking a pretty stiff task. I'm sure Dale Steen in the morning would be raring to go, and I'm sure the new ball is also going to be due, because already 67 overs have gone by. As far as the bowling figures were concerned, Dale Steen 13 overs, 1 maiden, none for 41. Morley Markle 13 overs, 4 maidens, none for 32. Cleanville 12 overs, 8 maidens, 31 runs and 2 wickets, continued to be impressive. Robin Peterson was pretty impressive, 20 overs, 11 maidens, 29 runs and 2 wickets. 5 overs, 3 maidens, none for 8 for Jack Scalise. Graham Smith came in just to see whether he can do something. He bowled 1 over for 10 runs, and Alvaro Peterson 3 overs cost him 5 runs. So that's the match situation as far as Port Elizabeth is concerned on the second day, with New Zealand absolutely to the backs to the wall, battling it out with Dean Brownlie and Brian Watling at the crease. That is the most recognized pair which should come. Other than that, they don't have match. So it would depend on how Dean Brownlie and Brian Watling carry on the battle tomorrow morning. And also the new ball would be due after a certain span of time. So whether how they negotiate that would be the key. But again, 247 is looking a very stiff task. It looks like South Africa already have the match in their pocket. Well, so that's the match situation. New Zealand would resume at 157 for 268 runs behind. And this is Ram really ending this cricket show, but with a very sad news that a former South African wicketkeeper, Guy Diaby, passed away at the age of 52, and Lucy Surti, an Indian all-rounder, also passed away at the age of 76. That's it from me, your host Ram, for the cricket show for today. See you all tomorrow. Thank you.